have everybody ready? Okay, all right. Let me pull my stuff. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so my name's Caitlin. I'm the supervisor of programs for the Grand Prairie Public Library. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is our second American Experiences program, and tonight we're focused on the Hispanic experience. So in this American Experiences series, we're putting the spotlight on different minority groups in America. We're hoping that we can learn more about elements of their life that perhaps we didn't fully appreciate before. It's my hope that by listening and engaging with these stories, we can come out stronger as a community and that we are better able to support one another. Tonight, we are joined by 4 guests. We might have a 5th one. We're not sure if he can make it or not, mostly from this area who are so generously sharing their experiences and perspectives with us. So I'm gonna read a quick little introduction on each of our guests. So I'll start with Maria Martinez. So Maria Martinez recently graduated from the University of North Texas at Dallas with a Bachelor's of Science in Child Development and Family Studies. She is the youngest of 3 and is originally from Mexico. Her parents brought her to Texas when she was only 3 years old, and she is currently a DACA recipient. So Douglas Interiano might join us a little bit later. He is actually caught in Houston right now. He works for Proyecto Inmigrante, and he is working with a client right now. So hopefully he can join us later, but we aren't sure yet. So Julia Perez. Julia has lived in Grand Prairie for the last 50 years. Her parents, Ruben and Mercedes Salazar, moved their young family from Mission, Texas to the Dallas-Fort Worth area for Mr. Salazar's job at LTV. Julia is currently the Planning and Zoning Commissioner for District 3, Vice President for the Unity Coalition, Media Representative for League of United Latin American Citizens, Board Member of the Crime Stoppers, Member of Crime Watch, Past Secretary for the Oak Hollow Sheffield Village PID, Past Vice President for the City of Grand Prairie Library Board, and a few other organizations in our grand city. Julia is now retired, but was previously a pre-kindergarten teacher at Immaculate Conception Catholic School. She worked for GPISD and the city of Irving. Julia is married to Al Perez. They have 1 son, Matthew, and are patiently waiting for their grandchild. Rodrigo Quijada. Rodrigo was born in Monterrey, Mexico. He was brought to the United States when he was just a year and a half old. Rodrigo was raised in Austin, Texas, where he still lives now at the age of 23. He has been enrolled in DACA for about 5 years, and he is currently in school pursuing a degree in audio engineering. And finally, Maria Santi. Maria is the Bilingual Minority Outreach Director for the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce, where for the last 5 years, she's planned and promoted the development of business skills in professionals and entrepreneurs, all in a framework of respect for diversity and inclusiveness. Maria is a mother of 2, lives in Texas with her husband, her youngest son, and 2 spoiled dogs. She holds a master's in U.S. law from Washington University School of Law and a bachelor's degree in law from the autonomous Mexico State University. So, now we will begin the question portion of this program. We've got a wonderful group of speakers tonight. So for everyone listening from home, you're also welcome to submit questions for me to ask our panel. You can send those in, and Isela, who's helping me out, might pass some of those over to me. And we are going to get started with the question portion. So now I'm gonna make this full screen for me, and I'm gonna start off to get everyone here started. And just easy question, tell me where your family is from and what is your favorite thing about your culture? So let's start with Maria Martinez.
So my entire family is from Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is in Mexico, like you mentioned. We're all from there, literally. We were all born there, and my favorite thing from my culture would have to be the food. I'm not a good cook myself, but my mom's the most amazing cook. So I think the food would have to be my favorite.
Great. And Julia?
Hi. My most favorite thing about our culture is family. We put our family first. We always gather together. Before, when we lost my mom, this October will be 3 years. We used to gather. I have 5 brothers and sisters. We have 3 boys and 3 girls in our family. And before, when Mom was alive, we all gathered at Mom and Dad's house every Sunday for dinner, every Sunday without fail. And now, since my mom passed, my sisters had a stroke. And so she lives with us in our home, and we still gather as a family, but now everybody gathers at our home. And Daddy still lives by himself. He refuses to leave his house. We've tried to get him to live with us, and that's with the family thing where we want him to sell his home and come live with us, and he won't do it. It's that Hispanic family thing. You want to get everybody and you want to take care of everybody. And we almost got him to where he's gonna hopefully sell his home and move in with us, almost, but not quite there yet. But we still gather together as a family in our home every Sunday, and we still have that Sunday family dinner. And it's work. It's a lot of work having everybody together, but you know what? There's nothing that I wouldn't do, you know, to still have my brothers and sisters with us every Sunday. And breaking of that bread together it's just something that you do. Family always comes first. It's amazing to have all your brothers and sisters together. It's awful that we still don't have Mom with us, but to have everybody together in your home, there's no other feeling like having your brothers and sisters with you. And it's that Hispanic thing. And people are amazed that we do that we all gather together. They're just like, how can y'all do that? How can y'all have so many people in your house? You do it. You will do whatever it takes to get all your family together. And that's something that we've always done, and something that I hope to God that we never lose, because all my other brothers, my daddy's family lives down south in the valley still, except 2 aunts that live in Houston. But everybody else lives over there. We're the only ones that came over here in '68. Mom and Dad had their house built in 1970. And we've always lived in Grand Prairie since then, and we're the only ones that live here. But you know what? We always have that's the Hispanic thing that we just always got together. So that's my most favorite thing, is that family comes first. You do what you do, and you always come together at the end of the week, and you're there for your parents, no matter what. That's my thing.
Thank you, Julia. Rodrigo.
Yeah, so my parents come from Monterrey, Mexico. Where I was born as well. And one of my favorite things about my culture, we're known for our cabrito, which is like roasted goat. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And Maria Santi.
There's a lot of things that I love about my culture, but I'll say that one of the most important things is the roots. We have extraordinary roots, full of unity, full of courage, full of fights of our ancestors. And not only because today is the day of the independence of Mexico, but we've been together, and we've been as Hispanic, we've been in so many difficulties. And I think that that's one of the most important things that I love about my culture, the courage. Every single thing that we face. Obviously, it's a very colorful culture. I love the food. I love everything. I love the folklore. I mean, I cannot deny that. Look at my face talking about my culture. I just cannot hide this smile, right? And yes, my parents and all my family are from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico too, and that's what I like most about my country and my culture.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's start with, actually, we'll go back to Maria Santi. And just be sure, if you guys see Douglas, check for him. Okay. All right, so Maria Santi, so what motivated you to come to this country? And can you tell us a little about your journey to get here?
Necessity was the first thing that brought me to this country. That was the main thing that I had to take care of. Unfortunately, in my country, back then, 10 years ago, there was a war against the cartel. So the presidential decisions, everything was about fighting the cartel no matter what. So the professional jobs ended up going definitely going south. It was not a good thing for all the professionals to have a job because everybody was scared. Nobody wanted to hire an attorney because nobody wanted to mess up with nobody. So jobs, economy, everything was very, very bad in Mexico. So I had, yes, I had my own law office, but unfortunately we had to close. And I had 2 children with me. And my oldest, she was 11, and my youngest, he was 6. So children, sometimes they don't understand exactly why you are moving them from one country to another one. So we had the blessing of having a visitor visa to get to this country, which is my country now. And without thinking twice, I took my children with me and I moved from Mexico to get here in an urgent necessity to give them something good, take them away from the bad things and the bad environment that the war against the cartel was bringing to every single state in Mexico. And my brother was already here in Austin, Texas. And he offered me, come here. And that's what I did. That's how my journey began. I'll say, of course, I was not able to work on any kind of professional job. I had to start, as many other immigrants. The only difference between every immigrant that you know and myself, it was the visa. Besides that, I had to start like many other immigrants from the ground. And that's how I met Rodrigo's mom, which is one of my best friends. And I start working for a cleaning houses company. That's what I start doing. Afterwards, yes, here and there, I start grabbing some other opportunities. And also I babysat for a time, let me think, maybe 2 years. And I had to start, providing to my children. So that's kind of the part of that makes me feel really proud about, because in between working to provide, I had to get involved with all this new country that was completely different than mine. And I had to learn English. I had to start getting involved in a new culture that was not mine, that it was completely different. And also to start to raise 2 children in both languages and have to have an acceptance for this new world and in new culture. And among other things, to show them that mom was fighting, that mom was able to do whatever that was needed to continue. And I think, thank God, that they learned good, the lesson good. And pretty much that's how I started the journey.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Rodrigo, why did your parents want to come to this country? And can you talk about the process of enrolling in DACA?
Yeah, I think my parents came to this country. I think most of the parents come to this country when they have kids or they're planning to have kids to provide a better life for them. I think that's really the main thing that they wanted for me. They also wanted to kind of just, pretty much provide a better life for us. For me, and I actually have a younger sister, and she was born here. But I think that was the main purpose for them to coming over here and trying to provide more opportunities for us to have here. And so my journey with DACA really started as soon as I graduated high school. I believe I was like 17 at the time. And honestly, I think if it wasn't for DACA, my life probably would have been really different after high school. I think it really impacted like the fact that I was able to go to school and be able to afford school. and be able to pay it on my own, all that good stuff. It really gave me more opportunities because I think without the DACA, I would have been very limited to what I was able to do with life. Yeah, because of DACA, I was able to get a car, something that I wouldn't have been able to do without DACA. And also I was able to get a better job, better paying job, which I was able to help out my parents as well with their spending and all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, DACA has really helped out a lot. It's gave me more opportunities. It's given me a better outcome in life, and I think it would have been really different without it.
Thank you. And to Maria Martinez, same question on DACA. What has that process been like for you, and especially right now where its status is more uncertain?
Just like Rodrigo said, my parents did come here for better opportunities to be given to all of their children. So DACA kind of basically what it does, it's an administrative relief form that kind of protects you from deportation. It was brought into the United States by President Obama in 2012. So whenever he introduced that to us, he was able to give us a social security number, which allows you to work and allows you to have credit cards, open bank accounts, take out loans, as well as I was able to receive a work permit with just like DACA and a driver's license. DACA is like a 2-year permit, so everything expires along with it every 2 years. So your work permit, your driver's license, you have to renew that every 2 years because your DACA will end with its term. So the fee now is $495, and it has increased over the years. And I know a lot of people do use lawyers, so that's without including the lawyer fees. I'm very blessed, and my brother helps me a lot, and he fills out my DACA every 2 years that I have to do it, so I don't have to go through any lawyers. But like Rodrigo said, it has allowed me to work, and it has allowed me to further my education. I don't think that without DACA I would be able to do it so easily, or with the opportunity that I did. I was granted actually a scholarship that paid for my entire education because I had DACA. So I didn't have to worry about paying out-of-state tuition or anything like that, because you do not qualify for federal aid. So basically, if you want to further your education, you kind of have to pay out of pocket, or there's some loans that won't even let you qualify if you're not a US citizen. So yeah, but up until maybe I think June this year, they're not, it's no longer a 2-year term thing, it's a 1-year term. President Trump kind of blocked, I think it's like every now and then that he gets bored, he likes to introduce something new to DACA, or he likes to kind of fight it or just kind of tug of war around with it. And it's a 1-year term now. So, and it's recommended that you, prior to your expiration date, you kind of have to apply at least 150 days prior to when it expires. So that already is so much time. So technically you're not applying every 2 years or 1 year, because it's 150 days prior to that. So basically your term is kind of like maybe 6-7 months if you apply. So every 6 or 7 months you have to reapply and go through the fees and go through the vigorous background check, because you do have to do your biometrics. So anything and everything will be used against you. If you have a ticket that you forgot about and you never paid for it, that could easily eliminate your eligibility. If you have, I don't know, anything that you probably committed and you got pulled over or something like that, that could easily be used against you. So you kind of have to walk on eggshells throughout your term, because anything will just kind of be able to take it away from you.
Thank you. I'm learning a lot about that. Julia, you are a second-generation American who's achieved a lot of success in your life, and you're a prominent member of Grand Prairie. What are some of the most harmful stereotypes you've had to face on the road to getting to where you are today?
Wow. There's a lot that I think happens to a lot of us. I remember one thing that just really, oh gosh, I love GPPD. I do, and I support them. I'm a member of Crime Stoppers, and but there's lots of instances, and I think it happens to a lot of us. Lots of racial profiling can happen to a lot of us, just walking down the street. But one thing in particular that really stands out for me, the first day of my mom's chemo treatments, my car was in the shop, and I was having to drive a loaner, and I pulled out of our neighborhood, and there's a certain part of Grand Prairie that used to be annexed. Well, it's annexed to Grand Prairie now, but if you're driving down 14th Street in Grand Prairie, heading towards Skyline, I was taking my mom to her first treatment of chemo, and I happened, and it's my fault, I know, I was going 2 miles over the speed limit. 1 mile over, you can get pulled over, people. So I got pulled over, and I was driving a paper tag Cadillac, and it was red, mine's black. The officer stopped me, and he says, "Not, can I see your driver's license, whatever. Is this your car?" First thing he said to me, which to me just really made my blood boil, because the first thing that came to my mind was racial profiling. And I said, "No, it is not," because honestly, it was not my car, but I have one just like it in black. So that kind of stuff just really gets to me, because that's racial profiling. I can't change the color of my skin, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's something that we face every day. That kind of, oh, it just irked me. And my mom is in the front seat, and he said, "Why were you driving so fast?" 2 miles, people, 2 miles over the speed limit. Taking my mom to her first treatment, and I've got this 75-year-old lady in the front seat and a 78-year-old man in the back seat. That's racial profile. I'm sorry, GPPD. I love y'all, I do, but that's racial profiling. But that's the kind of stuff that we face every day, people. And those are the kind of things I think that we have to face. And this is what being Hispanic, being Black, being any other color, that it's just part of it. It's part of it that we have to face. And it's not just the Hispanic, it's not just Black, it's not just, it's just part of some of the things that we have to face, people, that we need to, as a people, we need to all come together and ask for change. So that's what, I'm sorry, that's not what tonight was about. I know.
That's
so
really important. I think
it is important.
Those microaggressions are the kinds of things that it's really easy for a lot of us to just not think it was a big deal. And I can't even imagine, especially on that kind of,
on that day, having to face that. So that's the kind of things, as a second, you know, generation, you feel that, you know, and it's just hard. Those are the kind of things that we have to face, that we shouldn't have to face. We're all people. So we all need to ask for change. It's time. It's time. It's time.
Thank you, Juliet. Maria, Santi, so you have done so much work to help the Spanish-speaking community in Grand Prairie. What are the greatest needs that you see among the people you serve? And can you maybe share a success story, something inspiring that you've seen?
Yes, the first need is the language, definitely. Definitely the language. I have heard many stories and many people saying, oh, the language is not a barrier anymore. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Um, in between the language and the difference of cultures, you might find somebody that belongs that is Hispanic and probably will be in between not knowing what to say, not understanding what you're trying to tell him. And if you add up the way of many Hispanic that we were raised, you have to be respectful. You don't talk adults on the same line as you. If I talk to somebody that is 64, 70, I don't know, I have to be quiet and I have to wait for that person to ask first because I am younger. And the same way, the youngest people, a person younger than me, and if he is Hispanic, he has to do the same with me because that's how we are raised. So if you add up the not knowing the language to that, it makes a terrible formula that increases the fear on people of not being able, not thinking, because they are, and we are able to communicate. But sometimes that fear is so big that we cannot start to mingle or to start to try to put that wall. Also, I've seen so many people that they are so proficient with many other things. They have hands, unbelievable hands, working in many handyman jobs, or women that is not always, let me tell you something, it's not always that the Hispanic women, we are gonna work cleaning houses. I'm sorry, that is not the stereotype that we have to have. We are strong and we raise children, and those children, they are good people. Sometimes we are, if you see a Hispanic man, what do you think? Probably, oh, he does landscaping or he does construction. It's not like that. We understand. The problem is that we are kind of dealing with this situation in our minds of, oh my gosh, I have an accent. Oh, what I'm gonna say, maybe they are not gonna understand me. But it takes a while to get rid of that sense, but also to find people from our own culture available to help us. Because I mean, I am Hispanic and I do a lot for the Hispanic community, yes, and I try to provide that help. But that help ends up at the time that person that we work with goes not only with the American community, but also with the same Hispanic community. We need to enforce our own community. We need to keep providing, to keep nurturing, how to say it, it's just that you're reborn again. You are not the same person. If you are 50 years old and you arrive to the US for first time, you have to reborn, because all this that you see in this country is nothing comparable with what you had to go through in your childhood or in your youngest age. It's not comparable. So obviously, in between trying to get there, you want to have success. And yes, you want to be an example for your family. And if you have to send money to your country, then that's another burden that you have to face. But how are you gonna do it? Number one, I always tell my own community, reach out, ask, speak up. It doesn't matter if it's in English or Spanish. It's not a matter of listening to people that they still look at us like we are the maids, you know? It's not like that. sometimes they think that we don't understand what they are saying around us, when we hear English, and that is not the point. So I'll say that every Hispanic, what we have to do, it is to help to each other, to look up for organizations, amazing organizations like the library, like GPISD, Esmeralda, Rodriguez, and LEAP, and also the Chamber. We are so many organizations united. Douglas Interiano also with Proyecto Inmigrante, doing all these great things on behalf of all immigrants. We have the resources. We just need to feel that we belong here. We are not here to take your jobs. We are not here to commit crimes. If you see the level of crimes, we can see so many different levels and so many different profiles. The database is so different. It's not a generic thing. What we need to do, it is that face or that image or that plan that we came in this that we came with to this country never disappears, because it's like a hope, because it's an American dream. When you are in Mexico, when you are in Guatemala, when you are in Honduras, when you are in El Salvador, whenever that you say, I'm gonna go to the United States, what do you go for? Because over there, you're gonna get a job, because you're gonna get money, because you're gonna be able to provide to your family. You never think about, oh, when I get to the US, somebody's gonna be racist against me. Somebody's gonna judge me. Somebody's gonna point at me. Somebody is gonna tell me that I cannot do it. You don't have that in mind. Whenever that when you immigrate from one country to another one, you think that you're gonna do your best and that you're gonna get the best. I understand that yes, we are over 5 million right now, but I ask the president, we need an immigration reform. That will be, in my opinion, the best that President Trump might order. We need an immigration reform. And with that, I'll say that not only the Hispanic community, many other communities will bring their best to this country, because we see America as everybody says it, wonderful. It's a hope for every immigrant to get here. Why don't we choose to go to Brazil? Why don't we choose to go to Spain or to go anywhere else? It's not because we are in the same continent. It's because we know that America has what we need. I'm sorry if I'm kind of crossing a line, but I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. So, and once that everybody gets that chance, we will see not only 4 stories of success, as today in this panel we can see and hear about. We will be able to see 5 million stories of success.
Thank you so much, Maria. Let's go to Maria Martinez. So how have you had to be responsible for your parents since you came to this country? And like, have you had to translate documents or speak to adults as a child about things you didn't understand? And can you talk at all about the burden of dealing with grown-up things as a child?
Like you mentioned before, I am the youngest of 3. So for the most part, whenever I came to that, my brother was basically the one that was helping them the most. He would do a lot of translating, but I think growing up, all 3 of us kind of did that. My parents do not speak English. They never got the opportunity to learn to speak English, because ever since I can remember, they've worked 2 jobs. They haven't had, I think for a while they did go to like a community college course to where they could learn English, but it would be like a 1-hour course on Saturdays. And, if it was their day off, they might rather spend it with us than to go to an hour course, since they did work 2 jobs during the week. But I have had to translate like legal documents. there's been a time where my dad was working for Capital One, and he had to fill out certain forms that, because they were doing like very rigorous background checks as to who was allowed into their building, and he had no idea how to fill those out, or he didn't know who to contact, or something as small as maybe like customer service, like a while back, or washing machine broke, and I kind of had to take care of that because my parents they can't call anyone, and they're kind of scared to call customer service and then wait in line and then to ask someone that can speak Spanish. But I have had to translate, even going to the supermarket with them. If they have to ask for something specific, I kind of have to do it, or my siblings kind of have to do it. With health insurance, those documents have to be filled out every year annually if you want to renew them. And it's either me or my siblings that kind of have to pick up that slack, and we kind of have to fill out those documents if we want to have it. And it's not that they don't want to learn. It's just kind of like we were just raised that that's kind of like our responsibility. Like, you know English, so this is your job, and you kind of have to do it. And it just gets thrown at us. So I think a lot of my life I have had to do a lot of that stuff, especially with passwords and emails. They forget all that stuff. I don't know if it's just my parents, but if they forget their password, it's like I'm responsible for knowing all their passwords and all their emails to literally absolutely everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, it has been a big responsibility to translate and to take care of important documents.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that a lot of younger people are kind of handling, both ends of that. Thank you. Rodrigo, what do you hope for your own children or for the future? Like, what do you hope changes in this country from your experience growing up here?
I hope that they don't see the division that we see now within community. I hope that those lines are blurred out or erased, and everything kind of, I mean, everybody's able to like kind of get along and be able to provide for them, and kind of just tell them, kind of teach them from my experiences, from everything I have to go through. Pretty much, I think one thing that's very different from kids that came to Mexico here. One thing that our parents try to teach us is to value what we have, to value the small stuff, to really work for the things that we really want. And many people that were born here, some of the stuff was like really handed to them and stuff like that. So that's something that I would really would like to teach my kids, to appreciate what they have and to work for it, what they want. They need to earn it, because that's not the way. This is not the way the world works for us. So yeah, that's something I would like to teach them and kind of show them out.
Thank you. Let's go to Julia. So you were talking about family. It seems common for Hispanic children to continue living with their parents for a long time, and often to send money to their parents, whether it's, parents back home somewhere or in the same country. Can you talk a little bit about the concept of family in your culture?
Sure. I'm lucky as far as mother and daddy. My grandparents lived here. My great grandparents lived here. So I don't know that portion of having to send money back or anything like that. But I do know, like my sister-in-law, her ex-husband, used to send money back, and I know that he used to take care of his family because his dad lived in Mexico. And so I know that he worked really hard, and he used to send money back to his family. So I don't know a whole lot about that part, but I do have friends that do send money back. So I really can't speak on that part. I've been blessed as far as that part goes. But I do have friends that do send money back and have sent. But I know that my parents used to send money back to their mom and dad, because both my mom and dad came from a family of 8. And daddy used to pick cotton. I know that he was picking cotton at 5 years old, and they had my grandparents were, on my dad's side were not wealthy, you know, so I know Daddy used to send money back to his mom and dad down south. My mom was a little bit more spoiled, so I can't say that. You know, but you know, you know, we weren't rich or anything, but you know, we were a little bit more blessed. But so Dad, I just can't speak a whole lot on that, but I feel, you know, for people who have had to do that.
Let's do Maria Martinez. Because you're not a citizen of this country, you're not able to vote. Could you talk a little bit about what this means to you?
Yes, I think with DACA, and I think maybe Rodrigo can agree with me, I often times have friends come up to me and they're kind of like in awe with the process that I have to go to, whether it's every 2 years or every year, or the fact that I have to renew my license every year, or the fact that it might be a little harder for me to get a job, since it is, every employer is looking for longevity. You know, they want their employee to stay with them for a very long time. So whenever it comes to hiring someone that has DACA, that they know that they could probably stay with them for 2 years or for the 1 year term, or if they have someone else that is a US citizen, more likely than not, they're gonna probably hire the US citizen because they don't wanna take the risk in training someone that might or not might only be here for 1 year or 2 years. So when it comes to voting, and you know, have my friends come up to me and they kind of feel, I don't know if they feel sorry for me or they kind of just feel my pain, or they feel some kind of like they kind of want to feel sympathy towards me. They come up to me like, oh my God, that's so sad that you have DACA and you can't vote, or you can't leave the country and visit your family in Mexico. I think that speaks a lot for them. But whenever it comes to like voting, whether it's for state elections, city elections, or even a presidential election, they kind of stay quiet, or they kind of refuse to get informed, or they kind of refuse to vote. And I think living in 2020, it's so much easier now to get informed when it comes to those kinds of elections. Like, it's as easy as literally opening up Google and searching up, you know, who's running for president or who's the Democratic candidate or anything like that. Or you could literally just open up Twitter or Instagram and look up the trending hashtags and just follow them. So it's so much easier now to get informed and to kind of know who you're voting for, or to register to vote. You can even do so online. So whenever it comes to voting, I think that speaks a little higher for my friends or for my colleagues or my, you know, anyone that I go to school with. I think it's very important for them to vote, especially for me and for Rodrigo, who don't have a voice. Like, I'm kind of putting my life in your hands, and it says great that you do feel sympathy towards me, but I would like to see that like in action. I want you to go out to the polls and get involved, or literally just educate yourself, which is, it might only take literally an hour of your day, and you're going to be on your phone anyway all day, so you might as well just open up the app or look up the hashtag or go to Google, and it's not that hard to do. So I do think, especially with this presidential election, it's very important for the youth to get involved, for everyone those who can vote to vote, because I know a lot of I'm friends with a lot of people that just choose not to vote, and I've kind of chosen to kind of go my separate ways from those friendships. Because if you feel sorry for me or you feel sympathy for me, but you're not voting, then to me that's not like, it doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let's do Maria. The kind of tagline or just idea of build a wall. How has that impacted you? Or sorry, this is from Maria Santi. Switching. What has your experience been with that? I've heard different stories of children at schools and hearing that from kids of other races and things like that. Could you share anything about that idea, that build the wall idea?
Oh, well, you know, I don't think that there is anything that is going to be capable to stop immigration and to stop this country to grow and to keep needing so many hands to be as beautiful and worth it as it is. there is a saying between Mexicans, between us, that we said, okay, if Trump builds the wall, we will go underneath. We will fly over it. We will jump over it. Why? Because for Mexicans, I can, Mexican. So everything is possible for us. So it's kind of a joke, but I don't see how a wall is going to stop all this. And I don't see how children like Maria, well, not children, but young people like Maria or Rodrigo, they will let their parents down under all this politics and under all these situations that putting a wall is going to bring over. I don't know exactly what's going on Trump's head, but I understand that many people many people would like him to be again as a president. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think that if he is reelected, that wall is going to be one of the first things that he will do in the next presidential term. But I also know that culturally and socially, not only Hispanic, but with all these situations that had happened during this year, in 8 months only, it had strengthened all the people. And we will face it in many different ways. Maybe I'm not gonna be, putting down the wall, but I'll be doing my best to help people like Maria and Rodrigo and their parents and many other people that, as I said, that we need that immigration reform. Because why is all this? Because Mexicans keep crossing. That's why. Because the South American people, they keep crossing. But it's not only a situation of putting up a wall. The wall is in here. It's in your mind. And if you don't have it over here, there won't be a wall that will stop you. And I can bet that we are ready for it. In fact, I don't see how that it's gonna make a whole change for the reality that we are living right now. It's not something that I expect to happen, but I kind of know that it's gonna happen. But we are ready. We are ready for that. And I do see that our children and generations, they are getting more prepared every day. They are getting more ready to face reality. Because in my opinion, our government is not facing reality. What are you gonna do if you send out back to their countries more than 5 million of immigrants? What are you gonna do if you put up the wall and you at the end of the day saw that you only have spent a lot of millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, everybody keeps getting in the US? What's the situation here? What is the real reason of that? And unfortunately, what it's happening is that on American citizens, kids, that they are American citizens, that were born here, they are taking this wall as something that it's negative, that it's completely against the human race. And I'm not talking only about the Hispanic race. I'm talking about everybody. What are you gonna do to help these kids to get that out of their minds? What are we nurturing? Hate? What are we nurturing? Fear? there's enough right now. We don't need more.
Julia, how has your experience living in America changed over, say, the last 5 or 10 years? How do you think the climate has changed towards Hispanic people?
The climate, how it's changed towards us.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's been a significant change?
You know, at one time I thought it was getting better, but here lately with this wall,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gotten worse. You know, I think that there's been a fluctuation in well, to be honest, with this presidency, I think there's been a little more hate towards us, in my opinion, in my personal opinion.
Do you feel, and this to the group, do y'all feel like people are more comfortable expressing opinions that they maybe weren't in the past?
I think we should be able to express our opinion, but I think it's gotten and you can see it, and it's not just only towards us, as you can see it in the streets now, with what's happening on the television. You can see with everything that's been happening towards people of all races.
Mm-hmm.
It's not getting better; it's getting worse.
Let's see. So kind of changing topic a little bit for Rodrigo. Were your parents able to help you with your education growing up? And did you ever encounter challenges because maybe they didn't speak English, or did you have to manage a lot of that maybe other friends didn't have to?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it was around like 5th grade or 6th grade that both my parents started working, so I just was kind of on my own. I had to take care of my sister after coming back from school. So it was between taking care of her and also trying to manage doing homework, and kind of like it was just on my own, to be honest. I never happened to kind of like tell me, oh, let me help you out with this or that, because my dad only finished middle school and my mom only finished she didn't graduate high school. And unfortunately, because in Mexico you have to pay for classes. It's not free. Elementary, middle school, high school, you still have to pay. I don't know if you still have to pay for them, but back then you had to pay for them, and they couldn't afford it. So that's why the education wasn't very up to par. But yeah, so they were never really there to help me out. So it's kind of always kind of figuring out on my own. But yeah, I think that was probably one of the toughest like challenges for myself. But it's taught me a lot. It's taught me to like be able to figure out on my own, because a lot of this is a big learning experience. Because at the end, you're kind of on your own on here, because my parents didn't have that much experience here in America, but I was almost pretty much raised here for the most part. They can't guide me. They have no experience living in America, so it's kind of like I had to figure out my way up in society, trying to get to where I want to get, make them proud for them coming over here. And I think that's another thing that we immigrant kids can experience, sorts of pressure, almost a burden. You don't want to say, I don't want to call it that, but kind of making our parents proud, making them feel like the sacrifices they took to come over here were worth it. But at the same time, we got the whole world against us, you know. So it's challenging, but I think all we can do is keep moving forward, keep our heads up, and yeah, just try to do better.
Sorry, I think I lost internet for a second. Thank you. So Maria and Rodrigo, what would it mean for y'all if you had to suddenly go back to Mexico? We can start with Maria.
I think at the beginning I was kind of like refusive of going back to Mexico because I've been here since I was 3 years old, so I have no memory, I have no concept of being in Mexico. And I think for the longest time, maybe up until like a couple years ago, I was refusing to go back because I didn't see it as my home. But I think recently, with all the changes going on, I wouldn't be so opposed to it. I think kind of like I would be excited to go over there and like learn my true culture, meet all the family members that I never met. I have an education now, so I know that that would mean something over there. And also because, I don't know, I feel like now I would be more excited to, if I had to go, I wouldn't be so upset as I would have been maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I probably would be okay with it. And I would probably just make the most out of the situation. And ultimately, that is my home. That is where I'm from. So I think it would be a good experience to kind of switch it up and go to a country that maybe is not so opposed to me being there and just try my best to be successful.
Rodrigo, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Maria as well. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to see my roots, you know, see where I came from, learn more about my culture, because there is a big disconnection between cultures whenever you come down here. I mean, your parents can tell you about the culture, but you never really did it or experienced it. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, it's like she said, if it's a place where you basically belong there, I mean, obviously it's not gonna be the same just because usually if you come from America and go to Mexico, people notice you from you're raised in America. So and sometimes you are treated a little bit different. Um, I've, I've I've heard experiences and all that stuff, but it's still a challenge when you go back because you're basically going to start all over again, and things are not going to be the same. It's going to be completely different. But if if I'm able to make it here, where it's a place that they don't want me here, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make it in Mexico where it's like where it's they want me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't, I'm just kind of surprised by both of those answers. Okay, I'm gonna throw a couple out to the group now. So just whoever, y'all could all answer, whoever starts. Have y'all ever, has anyone had an experience where you were treated poorly because you were speaking Spanish in public? Anybody?
I haven't had, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so you just get looks. You get a lot of looks. They like look at you kind of weird. They mean mug you. But I mean that I really haven't experienced anything worse, thank God. But um, yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things. Like the looks you get, they're pretty ugly looks. But yeah,
Maria Martinez.
I haven't had any experiences myself, but my mom once came home because she went to Kroger and I think that's like my biggest fear. If I'm not there to stand up for her, if she's speaking English and she can't communicate to anyone, if she has a question or anything, if she's looking for a specific produce and she can't ask anyone, or if she does encounter someone that's a little more hateful and she's speaking Spanish. She did come home one time from Kroger a little bit upset because she was discriminated a little bit. Um, so it hasn't happened to me, but it has happened to my mom, and I wish I was there to kind of stand up for her, and I hope it doesn't happen to like. And I feel like if it happens to me, I could easily stand up for myself because I speak English, so I can kind of shut them down. But I'm more so afraid for my parents if it happens to them.
Mm-hmm. What about others? We've sort of touched on this. That it seems common for people to have professional level jobs in their home countries, and then they come to America and they take jobs that are, you know, far below their education or skill level. Anyone want to comment on what that feels like?
Ooh, I think I'll take this one. Well, let me tell you, when I start cleaning houses, there were times in which I was scrubbing the toilets and I was thinking, man, what happened here? Or I was thinking, how how can I scrub the toilets of my own house, what I have to do. And I think that that's one of the things, not exactly that moment, but I think that that pushed me a lot. That pushed me a lot to try to get a better life. Not because it was bad, but I knew that I had more things to give, more things to prove to myself, more things to show to my children. At that time, my daughter was translating for me too. And I know how your mom feels, Maria. And my children, my son, he used to cry. I don't want to go to school. I don't understand what they are saying. Don't take me. And instead of me staying in the same part or the same level, I had to level up. And I said, okay, I had to improve myself. So I had friends that they made me this huge favor of start texting in English with me. And I start going back and forth with text and start learning how to write. At the beginning, it was very difficult, and I wasn't even able to understand a phone call. Of course, after cleaning houses and taking care of a kid, the kid understood me for a little bit, but not that much. What helped me a lot was to whenever that I got a job as a teacher assistant in an elementary school, and I started to learn with the kids at the same time. I was taking care of the kindergartners and I was listening. I was doing B is for bear, B is for, no, trust me, A is for apple, and open your mouth and say apple. And I was learning at the same time as the kids. They hired me because my Spanish, they needed somebody bilingual. And that helped me a lot. And also what helped me a lot was that my husband and my in-laws, my husband speaks Spanish, but most of the time we had to interact in English. My mother-in-law doesn't speak Spanish at all, and I had to take care of her. So obviously she tried to have a conversation with me, and I was thinking, okay, what should I to respond? If she was like nodding her head, it was no, oh no, right? Or if there was something good, I said, okay, yes. And that's how I learned. And that's how I start to look for, let's revalidate the career. Let's take these classes. Let's start over. Where is the GD? Where is the office of the community college? What do I have to do? And I had to keep going. Yes, there were tough times when I was thinking, okay, what I'm doing here? Why I don't go back to Mexico or something like that? But that's easy. That's easy. And I did the master's degree, trust me, crying in front of the monitor because sometimes I couldn't understand the teacher. And I had to read 3 times the lectures. And I had to work at the same time with the translator, the lectures, and my husband next to me trying to explain me the things that I couldn't understand, but I never gave up. So that's the things that we as professionals, we need to understand. That if we were anything in Latin America, and if we are here, the journey is not over. It all depends on us. Where do we want to get? If we have a successful business, that's perfect. And if that makes you happy and if that fulfills your heart, that's perfect. But I've seen so many dentists, so many doctors. I have a friend that she is a doctor and she is at home baby because she cannot do anything. But number one, she doesn't speak English. So that's the first root. So it's possible. It's possible. I'm very proud. Whenever that I feel down and whenever that I feel sad because I wasn't able to do something, I have to remind myself, Maria, look at you. Look at you. You are the proof that yes, it is possible. And this is, maybe this is my mission. I don't know. But yes, we have to keep going.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna throw out about 3 more questions for the group. So, first of all, how do you think your culture and immigration in general helps make America a better country? Anyone? What about Julia? Did you catch that question?
I did. Wow. There's just so much. Can you go to somebody else while I gather my thoughts?
Does anyone want to?
Because I'll go on and on.
Yeah, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest, probably one of the best things we can, for our culture, we can bring over or kind of spread is the unity that we have in Mexico. I think that's something that the American culture kind of lacks of because over there in Mexico, like until you get married, you're not supposed to leave your house or something like that. You know, like every holiday, everybody gets together, cooks up, and everything like that. Everybody gets together, and here I've noticed that a lot of kids, as soon as they're turning 18, they're like, all right, I'm out the house, stuff like that. There's like separation. There's not, the unity isn't the same as the Mexican culture. And I think that'll be something really cool to see here, you know, see more unification, everybody getting along, and everybody trying to like create a much tighter community.
Social cohesiveness. Yeah, that's a great point. Julia, did you want to jump in or do you want me to throw out another question?
No, I agree with Rodrigo. I believe that especially with like Rodrigo's saying, our culture, especially and before it used to be with just the girls used to have to stay home, but now I see. Because I know that's how our dad was, that you stayed home till you got married. But now, you know, I see even the girls, you know, wanting to leave at 18, you know. I think I would love, our heritage is just so, society, Latinos as a whole, you know, our Hispanic culture. I would love for us all to get back how we used to be, where everybody stayed home, you know, until it was time. You know, when you got married, that's when you left. And now, you know, of course, that's how I want my kid to be. You know, he's 32 and he's still here with me. You know, and I'm like, you're not leaving. And he's not having a baby. I'm waiting for my grandchild. And when he heard, he walked by and he's like, why did you tell them that? Why did you tell them that you're waiting on a grandchild? He's not having a baby. He doesn't even have a girlfriend right now. I'm waiting on that grandchild because I want a grandbaby. You know, he's so mad at me right now. He's spitting fire. He probably won't talk to me for the next 20 years. I'm waiting on a grandkid. You know, I'm at home. I'm like, I'm home. Bring me a grandbaby. You know, that's the thing. I want, you know, our culture. We want the babies. You know, he's like, I need a girlfriend. You know, I need a wife. And I'm like, you don't even have to get married. Did that come out of my mouth? He's like, you paid for Catholic school all those years. You know, now you're telling me. I didn't say that, America. I didn't say that, Grand Prairie. You didn't hear that. Bishop Dunn, y'all didn't hear that.
Okay, so I'll throw another one out to the group on just what does it mean to each of y'all to be an American? So who wants to start? I think this is a good one for everyone.
Wow. I love America. I love this country. As I have said, I was born here. And this country has given me so many opportunities. Had brought me happiness. I met the love of my life here. My children are safe. My children are successful people. It's very, very full. It's big to have become an American. I love my country. I love Mexico. And as I said, today is the Independence Day of Mexico. I'm Mexican, but I am an American too. And I love that. I love that because I'm very proud to be part of this workforce, of these new people, because America has been always known as the house for everybody. And it became a house for me, and it gave me a new life, and I love it. And God bless America.
Who else? What about Maria Martinez?
I think being a Mexican American is very important to me. Like I said, I was raised here. I don't know any different other than America. So I am very appreciative of the opportunities that have been provided to me, because I know that I would not have had the same experience in Mexico that I have had here. It would have been very different for me, for my parents and my siblings. I think lately, I wouldn't say that I'm angry at America or that I have like anger towards it. But I think lately it has been kind of like a fight to kind of feel like that I am American in a way, or that I am welcomed overall. So it has kind of come to like a more, maybe like more of a negative side being here, just because of everything going on.
Anyone else in that? Okay, so then I'll do my last question for y'all as a group is just what can let's see where I have this written, I don't know, but non-Hispanic people, what can people like myself do to make this country better and more welcoming for Hispanic people? Okay, Rodrigo.
I think just getting more knowledge and being aware of just being aware like of the community, learn more about us, I guess, learn our history, learn how we like just be more knowledgeable of our culture, be more knowledgeable of kind of just like the way we're affected, the struggles we have to go through every day. And also by knowing that, I mean, hopefully it changes your mind on us, or you have a better idea, more respect towards us. And by finding like communities you can help out, or any type of what's it called, fundraiser or anything like that, just to kind of help us out, you know. And I think that's where we'll see, you know, this, you know, we want to stay here, you know, we're more comfortable being here. When we see other people that are from here that want to help us out, that want to give us our hand and make us feel welcome. And I think those are the type of things that go a very long way. So.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
Count us in. We are here. We are not going anywhere. Count us in. Together we can be stronger.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, is there anything that you that I've missed that you want to make sure you've talked about? If not, then guys, Julia, Rodrigo, Maria, thank you so much. There's a lot of stuff, I think I'm paying attention, and then there's a lot of stuff I have not considered at all. So I know I got a lot out of this. I think everybody did. So thank you guys so much for being willing to share your stories. We really appreciate that. We hope you guys stay connected with us at the library. And to everyone who's been joining us, thank you guys so much for your time. We will send out a recording of this so you guys can pass that on later. Also, anyone who registered for this will of course send a book list because we are a library. So we'll send out some recommended reading, a lot of stuff from Hispanic authors, of course, too. And oh, I didn't bring a program guide. That's my fault. If you guys haven't gotten one of our program guides, we have it online. We've got them at the library. So pick one of those up. We've got lots of programs at the library. They're all virtual right now, either on Facebook or on Zoom, or some stuff's kits to take home. So everybody get one of those program guides, participate with us wherever you live. Also, be sure to catch our next experiences program. That one's going to be on October 13th, and that one's going to be on the LGBTQ experience. And I think that's everything that I've got. So thank you all very, very much. And our speakers, thank you guys so much. And everybody have a great night.
Thank
you,
y'all.
everybody.
It was great meeting
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.
Have a good night. Thank you.